Graphic. The CSTB logo is presented on screen. Title: Learning from Young Adult Role Models Who Are Blind or Visually Impaired, Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind Outreach Programs. Title: Caleb. A profile picture of Caleb is on screen. A photo on the bottom of the screen shows Caleb traveling beside a row of lockers in a high school hallway with his long white cane. A sign language interpreter is sharing a split screen with our presenter Caleb, who is standing in a conference room. Captions are below on screen.
My name is Caleb. I'm 17 years old, and well, right now I have retinopathy of prematurity. Boy, that's a mouthful. Not sure if that's exactly how you say it, but basically all that means is that my retinas are detached. So that's what's causing my vision loss. I can only see light out of my right eye. I can't see anything else. No colors, no shapes, only shadows. So I can tell the difference between light and dark, night and day, things like that. That's about it. My left eye is covered in scar tissue, so I have the smallest bit of light perception you can ever imagine, to the point where if you cover your eye, it's almost like if you look at the sun and you close your eyes, but you can still see the light of the sun just barely coming through your eye, your closed eyelids. So that's what I have. I was born 3 months early, so that's why I have retinopathy of prematurity. I'm very thankful that I didn't have any more problems, because I could have ended up a lot worse. So I have attended public school my entire life, and I've, read Braille since I was 4 years old, but I do prefer to read auditorily. The only time I use Braille is with math, because of its complicated signs, with addition, subtraction, multiplication, things like that. I cannot tell the difference if it's auditory. But every other book I read, pleasure reading, things like that, it's all auditory. I have a Bookport Plus that reads in a robotic voice, but it's reading nonetheless.
Title: Technology.
I use a screen reader. It's called JAWS. I have a Windows laptop. I don't typically use a lot of assistive technology. I'm not like some people who have a ton. Nothing wrong with that, but they have magnifiers and Braille notes and Braille displays and external keyboards and everything like that. They have all the technology you can imagine. I use a laptop with JAWS for all my schoolwork and browsing the internet in my free time. I have an iPhone just so that I know who's calling me, things like that. I can text, and basically I can do everything a sighted person can do on a phone, just with voiceover talking to me.
Title: Mobility.
To get around, I personally go sighted guide most places, because that option is available, which is really helpful to me. But oftentimes I do practice on mobility lessons. I've practiced walking routes using the what is it called, the maps on the iPhone. I have used that before. I've practiced a long time ago with a Braille compass, but I haven't done that for a while. I've done bus routes before. It's not my favorite thing to do, so I'll probably avoid that as much as possible. But other than that, really, I just go sighted guide and figure out what I need to figure out. When I get to a new place, I can sometimes do perimeter searches, things like that.
Title: Growing Up.
Well, let's see, my parents have always wanted the best for me. So I was born in New Mexico, and I lived in a small town. It was called Raton. And when I was about probably 3, I think, I can't remember, don't quote me on that, we started looking at preschools, and my parents told me that when they started looking, they had no idea. The school had no idea what to do because of my visual impairment. They had no idea what to do. So they started looking around for places to go, and we moved up here, and I lived up here since, and we found D49. And so now I've had a vision instructor and a mobility instructor since I could remember. And so they've done that. They've always wanted the best for me, so they've really kind of put me in public school just like everyone else because I would have the same opportunities. They've allowed me to do sports, and basically they really didn't limit me on anything. They always hammered independence in me, learning how to cook, to clean, to solve problems in any scenario. So really what they did is just treat me like a normal child. They didn't really, how do I say this? They didn't really baby me per se. They didn't do everything for me for, the longest time. They basically just raised me to be a normal child, and eventually they taught me how to do things on my own.
Title: Advice.
One thing that I would really keep in mind is patience, okay? Because one thing that I've noticed is even though my parents have tried to teach me a lot of things on their own, cooking, cleaning, folding laundry, doing really simple everyday tasks, even something like tying knots, for instance, a lot of the time it could be very possible that your child, because of his or her vision loss, especially if they were born with it, it might take them maybe twice as long to do the same task and figure out how to do it properly. Or even sometimes for me personally, I've been shown several times how to do the same task and I still forget. It's just one of those things that kind of happens. So really you have to be patient. You can't get frustrated. You can't show any sign of frustration, because if you do, then the kid starts getting worried. And so really just be patient and just treat them like everybody else. They're no different really than sighted children. So I just really keep that in mind as you're raising your child.
Title: Education.
I had to start learning Braille when I was 4 years old, because how else was I going to read any textbook, any assigned reading that we would have from first grade on? I mean, there would have been no other way. I was never really good at math to begin with, but I had a lot of math tools I could use, protractors, rulers, things like that. Reading, I just read Braille. And then when I moved to laptops with screen readers in my later years, I printed out my assignments, because before, my vision instructor had to transcribe everything I wrote in Braille and then give it to the teacher. So I started printing my assignments, and then it progressed to flash drives. And then now I just email everything. I do everything electronically as much as I can. Tests, anything like that. So really it's just a matter of doing things in a way that works for you as a blind individual. For me, auditory worked the best. And then another thing that I noticed is a lot of times staff members at your own school might not be familiar with teaching a blind child. So what I have done since my freshman year, since 6th grade, is before school starts, I met with all of my teachers. So I took my class schedule, and my mobility instructor, we did a lesson to find all my classes. And then I met with all my teachers a couple of days before school started with my vision instructor. And we just kind of talked about what they could expect from me and how I could work with them to get assignments and things like that. So that's one thing that you could consider if you're blind, or if you're the parent of a blind child, if you could probably talk to the vision instructor and see if they can arrange that. So I started taking college courses my junior year of high school. And college is a very different environment than high school. So what you have to do is you have to take the initiative to set up any accommodative services, because when you're from elementary school up, you're used to IEP meetings that talk about the accommodations, but you have to go and set those up. So you have to go and meet with the student services. But what I've noticed is even sometimes it could be, and it's not always the case, but it could be that they have never worked with a blind person before. So you really have to know your stuff, know what's comfortable to you, whether it's JAWS, whether it's Windows Eyes, whether it's NVDA, magnifiers, whatever it is. Know your stuff, know your software, know what you need in the classroom. How do you want teachers to give you assignments? Do you need things repeated to you more than once? You have to know all that so that you can tell the people at the student services office, this is exactly what I need, and I need it this way now. And then they can write you a note or a form, or however they do it, whatever they do. But you have to take the initiative.
Title: Recreation.
Recreationally, I like to consider myself well-rounded. I have skied before. I go on Vibes trips, which Vibes is an organization. It stands for Visually Impaired Blind Skiers. And they just put a bunch of ski trips on, snowshoeing trips, really any outdoor recreational activity. So I've skied, I've snowshoed. I love snowshoeing personally. I love doing the Vibes trips every year where we go snowshoeing. I've also went out with my dad, and we've shot guns, and we went out into the woods and hunted rabbits and things like that. Didn't catch anything, but just for the experience. And with my friends, really, we just go to church, and we kind of just hang out and talk, and sometimes we'll go to eat food, and we'll just really have a blast doing whatever we can. We won't get we won't get rowdy or crazy or anything, but we'll just go and just hang out and talk and make jokes, and I like to sing, and I like to read, and I love working out. Really, honestly, for me, I just do whatever I can. I've jumped off cliffs before. I've done a lot, so I can just do whatever I can, and if I don't like it, then I won't do it again. It's really that simple.
Title: Future.
Well, my future goal is career-wise. I actually want to be a worship pastor. So that basically means I'm not necessarily going to be a pastor in the sense that I will be teaching the Bible. I will be on stage putting together bands, putting their worship teams, raising up worship leaders, so that when I'm gone, they can take my place, whether it's for a day or whatever. But my job, I want to be a worship pastor. So for me, once I graduate high school, it will be off to worship school for a couple of years, potentially, maybe a year, I don't know. And I'll just find a job and do that. One of the things that's on my bucket list is I'd love to go skydiving. I've actually been indoor skydiving before, but I'd really love to try to actually physically jump out of an airplane. I've never done that before from 30,000 feet. So I think that would be really fun. And really, honestly, for me personally, I just want to enjoy my life. I want to make wonderful friends. I don't plan on getting married, but I do want to make wonderful friends and just really enjoy life, spending time with family and just serving God. You have to approach anything that you're going to do, whether it's for the first time or the 1,000th time. You have to be able to, first of all, come in with a mentality that I will win, and you have to be motivated, and you have to get pumped up to be able to do this activity, whatever it is. You have to say, I will win, I will do everything in my power. I will move mountains, whatever it's going to take. I will achieve this goal. And, well, honestly, sometimes life will be against you. You might not be able to achieve the exact goal you want, but don't be discouraged. Really, always stay positive. Don't ever get yourself in a mindset of, well, I didn't do this. I'm lost now. What do I do now? There's always a way around a problem. Whatever challenges come my way, I'm just gonna kind of take it and roll on.
Closing credits. A photo of Pikes Peak is in the background. Title: Learning from Young Adult Role Models Who Are Blind or Visually Impaired. Production of the Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind. 33 North Institute Street, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80903. Telephone 719-578-2100. www.csdb.org. Videography: Deb Branch, Sean Livier, Bill Beagle. Captioning: Bonnie Otmar. Editing assistants: Diane Covington. Audio description: Jim Olson. Graphic: the CSDB logo.